I remember she said something like, hey, don't get me wrong. I really wanted you to be happy with the Sheri, the other Sheri. And I support your relationship. But if you ever break up with your girlfriend, do you want to marry me?
Welcome to the Coffeeshop AU. I'm Jay, your host, and you are listening to part 2 of my conversation with Hyeyoung, a Korean lesbian business owner who loves her wife very much and is maybe one of the wisest people I know. To catch up on our conversation so far, please listen to the previous episode. And as always, enjoy!
And we ordered the coffee and we walk up to the second floor. And my ex was still downstairs ordering her stuff. And I was just looking for empty seat.
Yeah.
And then I saw this girl, really naughty looking. Looking girl, which is my type, was sitting in the corner reading super thick book. This book was like so thick. It almost looks like something that you would never read.
Right. Like a dictionary.
I mean, who's carrying that kind of book in a coffee shop? It's so heavy.
Sheri was.
Yes. So I remember I was looking at her and I was telling my friend, hey, look at the girl. Isn't she looks like lesbian? I was doing that. And
So you were with your ex, Sheri, and your friend.
yes, exactly. And my friends were second floor with me, and my ex Sherry was the first floor ordering her drink.
Yeah.
And my friends are like, oh, yeah, I think she is.
Also, your friend was lesbian.
Oh, yeah, we're all lesbian together.
But you didn't know for like 3 years. But she knew that you were lesbian,
Yes.
that you were both lesbian.
I know.
I presume this is after you came out to each other.
Oh, yeah, it was like way after. So I was looking at her, and then she was looking at me. And I got like surprised and I turned around.
Yeah.
And usually when you have eye contact with somebody one time,
Yeah.
you kind of assume that they're not going to looking at you again. So I looked at her again and she was looking at me again.
No.
So I turned around again and I was looking at her again and she was looking at me again. So we had like a 3 eye contact.
Oh.
And it's just that feeling, I will say, is kind of like a way I liked my girl when I was a kid, my friends. I think it's very similar feeling. But we're strangers to each other and I'm in a relationship and she was in a relationship. There's nothing we need to grow from that feeling, right? That's what I thought. But I was excited to go, oh, what a cute girl in a coffee shop.
What a cute nerd.
Yes, exactly. And my ex came and she was like, oh, I know that girl. We have the same name. That's my coworker, she said.
Oh, wow. Small world.
Yeah. So they said hi to each other. That was the first image of my wife.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember I was thinking about her several times.
Afterwards.
I was wonder what she was reading or why she came to Korea. Simple question, but I will have that question for many other people.
Yeah.
Like you too, when we met each other. So I just thought it was not a big deal. But deep inside, I know that I really liked her. Yeah. But we never did anything that we shouldn't do because she had a girlfriend and we didn't even talk about it. We never talked about it. We were just always hang out if we have some party going and stuff.
Yeah.
But one time, Sherry was single that time. Maybe it was like a year later. Maybe one and a half year later, Sherry was single and I was still with my ex.
Yeah.
And Sherry asked me to find some products and stuff at department store that she need to buy.
Right.
So I was there with her and I was helping her shopping, helping her buying things. And I remember she said something like, hey, don't get me wrong. I really wanted you to be happy with the Sheri, the other Sheri. And I support your relationship. But if you ever break up with your girlfriend, do you want to marry me? That's what she said.
Do you want to marry me?
Yeah, that's what she said. As very casually, kind of like joke. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to break up with my girlfriend, but if that ever happen, yes, I will marry you. That's what I said.
Wow.
I meant it when I said, not because I wanted to marry her now, but she was the person, if I'm single,
Yeah.
I wanted to get to know. I thought she was cool. She's deep enough to talk. She cared about the world. I really, really liked her. I feel like she is my type of person. Yeah, so because of that reason, I was so like shaking inside when she told me that she always liked me, and I was very happy.
Yeah.
But because of my feeling was so strong towards Sherry, I was even more scared. If we're together and if she's cheating on me again or if we break up,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can actually recover from the feeling.
Right.
I was so scared. And I thought it's better that we just stay as a friend because then I never had to worry about that. So that's why I was hesitating for a long time. But she was always there for me. I remember she had a like bicycle, motorcycle, bike.
Yeah, a motorcycle.
I'm sorry, what is
Yeah,
the
like a scooter.
Oh, yeah, she had a motorcycle at the time. And I remember sometime I will contact her when I'm like really drunk. And then she will come get me.
Of course. You used to drink a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of your stories from
Oh,
like
yeah.
younger days all involve
yeah.
alcohol.
I'm so thankful that I'm still alive. No, really. I think because of all this complicated emotional situation, I think
Yeah.
I was too harsh on myself anyway.
Right.
And yeah, so she was always there for me when I'm in a trouble or when I'm lonely, if I need somebody to talk. And deep inside, I was like, I really feel like this person is different. I really feel like this person is like somebody I can actually trust. And she was always like so charming. She knew how to make me laugh.
Yeah.
She doing this weird joke, like very smart, weird joke that I really like.
Like dad jokes.
Yes! Yes.
I feel like Sherry tells a lot of dad jokes.
아재 개그. Dad joke. 아재 개그.
Yeah.
And I love those.
Yeah, I like them too.
This is why I love her father too. Oh my god, her father is like a professional dad joke. Like nobody can be better than he does. Like he's so good. She learned
He
from the
invented
best.
dad jokes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's how they get a girl.
Yeah, they look alike a lot too.
I know. Oh, they are very similar. But anyway, that was the reason I was hesitating. But now that I think about that time, I'm really glad that I didn't give up on love and relationship.
Yeah.
Even though I had all this hard memory, if I gave up, I would not have what I
Yeah.
have. And I'm so thankful every day.
That is such a sweet, wonderful story. Obviously, I knew like the gist of it, some details, but the way you described how Sherry basically let you know her intentions after you broke up with your ex
Yeah,
is extremely respectful,
Yeah.
extremely clear.
I think so.
It's really kind of attractive.
I found it actually, it was very attractive. And also because she didn't push me to do anything.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was sending her messages, something like I'm a mess, I'm lonely, and something like that.
Yeah.
And she offered me to come, and I was still at the bar drunk. And I remember she offered me, you want me to come get you? You can sleep at my house tonight. And she said, I mean, just sleep.
You can sleep on the floor.
Yeah, not anything else. And I have extra toothbrush, and then she was telling me all this, and I said, I can come get you. And I know sometimes it's hard to go back to your home because I was still living with my ex at the time.
Right.
So it was very hard for me.
Yeah.
So I said, yes, please. So she come get me, and we were at her house, and she gave me like toothbrush and towel and all this. And she was like, where do you want to sleep? Like, you can sleep in the couch, or I can sleep in the couch. You want to just sleep on the bed? She was asking. And I remember I was asking her, can we just sleep on the bed together? And maybe can you give me just a hug? I want somebody to hug me.
Yeah.
And I remember she was hugging me, and I cried like so much. Yeah. At that time, not because of the breakup was still sad. I just felt like I'm a mess. I couldn't stop thinking about like how my life going. And I used to be a dreamer, you know. I used to have a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I thought life would be different when I'm like late 20, and I'm a mess. I couldn't stop thinking about that. So,
Right. And she was there for you.
yeah, and she gave me hug. Very nice hug.
Like throughout the whole night, because you know how your arm falls asleep after a while?
Oh no, maybe for like 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes, that's still a long time. Wow, kudos.
Yeah, because I cried a lot.
You got Yeah.
Yeah.
You have told me stories from your 20s, 30s, and they are not all like happy stories. You know, you have gone through some really tough times, some dark times, and
Yeah.
I always appreciate you sharing those stories with me because kind of like how you normalized being a queer couple and having a life with your wife for me, just because I happened to meet you and you took me into your community and home. I think you also normalize, maybe without intending to, just having struggles in life. And again, like kind of with the sexuality thing, you can talk about mental health issues without being ashamed.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And you have told me many times about the things that you've been through, and I know that that's helped me. So I just really am grateful that you are willing to share that with me. And I feel like in a lot of those stories, Sherry's in the background,
I know.
holding you
Yes.
physically, emotionally.
Yes.
And I think that's a really wonderful thing to have somebody, sometimes literally having your back to tell you things that you need to hear that you can't really tell yourself. And yeah, what you said about being able to trust her, I think a lot of that shows up in those stories.
Yeah, I think I feel good to share this kind of story because I know when people looking at us now, a lot of time I know what young people think. Like we were very settled. Sherry is a university professor. I own business. You know, they seems like they're together. They even got married. Like as a Korean, that's big thing. Korean queer woman.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
And you know, we going to visit family, and you know all this, and
Together.
people looking at us as a very well, like comfortable
Yeah.
and well settled life.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to share the story because my life was not always like that. And even now, it's not always good. And what we do is we just try to make it work.
Yeah.
And we share each other's sickness. We share each other's story and emotion. And if there's any problem, we will try to talk because we value our relationship a lot. So we wanted to fix it, right? We wanted to continue.
Yeah.
And also, I think when I was young, I cared too much about what other people think about me. And I realized too later that what other people think about me is not as important than what I think about myself.
Yeah.
If I knew that when I was younger, my life would be maybe different. Even like haircut, I wanted to have a short hair because I feel like it's very queer and it's women with the short hair are cute. I want to be cute. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to have that. But as a Korean girl with the short hair, it was even so hard to find a job. You can work at certain place, but a lot of jobs, the society is so conservative. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, your hair is too short,
Right.
or you have a piercing,
Yeah.
and you know, oh, this even the small thing, or the feeling like constantly lying to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a boyfriend? Oh, yeah. It's a lot. It was a lot for me. So because of that, I think I was more obsessed about the relationship and forgot about my dream and other things that I can do with my life. And I am sad about myself when I think about it that time.
Yeah.
But I'm not only sad, I still feel like it was worth it. Because maybe that time, with my personality, some people can take things easily, but I'm a more complicated emotional person. And maybe I needed to have that experience.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
if who I am now is because of that experience, then I'm okay with it.
Right.
And I wanted to tell people where you live your life, what kind of worry you have, and things like that. I really want to say it's okay. I know a lot of time people feels like it's not okay, but you just have to make it work to way you wanted to live your life.
Yeah.
So only thing that we equally have is a time,
Yeah.
and where you spend your time is all up to you. But all those experience will guide you to where you are now. So it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that a lot of people probably need to hear. I know that I'm one of these people, and yeah, especially younger people, I guess. And I feel like the way that you always share the imperfect parts of your life, you know, whether from the past or like from the present, I think probably have helped me more than I know and more than you know.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it did. Because you know how I always said to you that you're my Dumbledore?
Yay!
Yeah. I mean, even though J.K. Rowling is extremely
I
transphobic,
know. Ah,
a lot of queer people still have a deep attachment to Harry Potter. I grew up reading Harry Potter, and
yeah.
before I realized I was queer, before I realized I was trans, I really did used to sort of... My favorite character from Harry Potter series is Dumbledore. And
Oh.
yeah. Who's your favorite character?
Now I feel like I have to say Dumbledore.
No! You don't have to, of course.
Actually, Snape.
Snape. Okay.
I
Got
like
it.
Snape,
Yeah,
yes.
I can see that. And this is before, you know, like J.K. Rowling did the whole bit of like, oh, Dumbledore's gay. I really loved him from the first book because he was an adult that told the truth.
Yeah.
He didn't always shield Harry from the truth. And I think that was like an adult figure that I always needed, or on some level I knew I needed, but like maybe wasn't available. And when I met you, you were older than me. And yeah, some parts of your life did seem very settled. And you had this very solid feeling relationship with Sheri. And you were always providing things for us. The younger queer people in the community, you're always like feeding us and always, you know.
I'm like a mom.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, you really provided us with this safe space on a daily basis. So I looked up to you as this grown up. But at the same time, you were so comfortable talking about the harder parts of your journey, both as a queer person and just a human being. You would talk about the
Yeah.
things that you wanted to pursue and kind of had to stop pursuing, how you feel about those things and how you feel about your life now and your business and your partnership. And I'm sure that it had a really big impact on me because I really did grow up. since the time I
Oh.
met you. You know, I mean, like, it's like physically true, of course, because it's been about like 7, 8 years since I first met you. But having queer role models, like having a queer person who is able to say life is not perfect, life is not easy. And like, yeah, of course, there are a lot of people who say that, but like you said, I think what really comes through when we have these conversations is that you really did stay true to yourself. And I feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I haven't had a lot of those conversations with people who are older than me in my life. And I think that's, I don't know, that's just really precious to me. Sherry mentioned during her interview how some of her university students who are queer have
Yes.
this feeling that because they're queer, their life is going to be lacking in some way or limited in some way, which is so, I think, so natural to feel because of the
Yes.
way society is, kind of like how you felt when you were younger. But to see somebody who is out, who is having a life with the person they love, they got married, they have a job, that's a really hopeful thing. And I think when you're a minority, it can almost feel like sometimes it's like an either or. Like you'll have a sad ending or a happy ending.
Yeah.
But we're just people at the end of the day. And I feel like it's just really important to hear from other people that life is sad and life can also be great and happy and
Yeah.
joyful. That doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. It's just a mixture of everything. And I don't know, it kind of sounds obvious when I put it this way. Yeah, just to have you as a queer older friend, very close friend, I consider you, share honestly with me about the things that you have gone through and are going through still, it nurtures me. And I think it makes me a better person.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually really glad, and I know what you mean. Like, of course, those things are always obvious, but actually, it's a truth too. You know, like having a hard experience in your life that we say, oh, it makes me grow so much and stuff. I don't know if it's necessarily makes me really grow, but what I know is I survived. That's the one thing I know. I remember I was like suffering depression when I was 30. And I started going to the doctor and having a real like counseling and taking a medicine and all this. And it was really a hard time. And if that experience made me more strong, I'm not sure. But what I know is I survived from those experiences. And that's the something I know, that I can do this. It was not fun. It was hard, but I can handle it.
Yeah.
Barely, but I did it.
Yeah.
And that's something that you actually know.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is important.
Yeah. And I really like what you said about your experiences in the past, even though some of them are really tough. If that means they made you who you are today, you're okay with that. I think that really rings true.
Yeah.
And I wish that more people could feel this way. I'm sure a lot of people do feel that way.
And I'm also really glad that I decide to live way who I am.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I didn't give up
Yeah.
my sexual identity, which is I cannot. I can hide it. And I can live like somebody else, but I'm really glad that one great things that I really like about my personality is I don't just absorb whatever people said immediately, and I personally trying to figure it out by myself.
Right.
And I'm really glad that I didn't just accept all the things that society taught me. If I accepted those things by word,
Yeah.
I might not even discover who I am. And I could have just hide my identity,
Yeah.
but I'm so glad that I didn't. I think my life would be very different if I did it.
Yeah.
And my life was hard, but it was exciting. I had a lot of, again, I'm glad I didn't die, but I had a lot, I'm glad, but I had a lot of experience and interesting story. And also now I can prove to my life that I did all those things and something is not too bad or something was great or all this, by experience.
Yeah.
I can actually prove those things.
Yeah.
And I want to do more things too. Like after turn 40, I hesitate doing a lot of things. I wanted to learn like dance again. Like I really wanted to learn jazz dance and I wanted
Oh.
to do the exercise. I wanted to learn writing music and I wanted to do a lot of those things, but my age really, really hold me to do those things. And I'm like, no, I'm not just 40. I'm 40 with myself.
Yeah.
I can do this. So I'm fighting with that feeling all the time these days.
Yeah. Well, exactly like this. You're like, I'm fighting with this feeling. I'm like, yes, you fight. You're gonna make progress.
Life is like a fighting forever.
I wish it wasn't so much of a struggle all the time.
I know.
Actually, it's not always a struggle, but it can definitely be a journey of like constantly discovering and rediscovering who you are.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah, how to continue to live your life in your own way.
I agree. Yeah.
And it really does look different from person to person.
Yeah.
First of all, why is Snape your favorite character?
Oh, I like the way he kept the promise.
Okay.
Yeah, and loyalty. And also, I like to see the idea of, how can I say, because of you have some bad part about yourself,
Yeah.
that's not everything you are.
Yeah.
And also the cheesy way how the love can make somebody doing good things.
Yeah. No, that's really true in Snape's case. Yes.
And I love his style, hairstyle, way he talk. He kind of looks like scary, dominant teacher.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
he's definitely very emo. He's like emo times a million.
Yeah.
And yeah, no. I can see why you would like him.
And seriously, like Harry Potter's father were so mean to him.
Yeah, he was kind of to him.
Right?
He was a bully.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he was still, the end, did the right things.
Yeah.
For not only for himself, but for
love.
Yeah.
Speaking of aging and keeping on discovering things about yourself, you recently had some big news
Oh yeah.
about yourself.
So I'm starting to taking ADHD medicine. And the thing is, I knew that I might have ADHD, but in my generation, as a woman, Korean, it's not easy to find those information when I was young.
Yeah.
And I also found out that ADHD can be different, depends on the person, depends on the gender, all this. And I had no idea. In my head, like ADHD is something like kids screaming and can't stop moving and those kind of behavior. But then the more I was learning about ADHD, I was thinking maybe I have ADHD, but also I kind of have this weird personality, like I'm strong, I can take care of this problem by myself without medicine and all this. And then I remember having an experience talking to people. Actually, this has been like over several years. A couple of years ago, I went camping, talking to one of my friends, and she was like, I'm taking ADHD medicine. And do you ever think that you have ADHD? Like after I talking to Sheri, it seems like you might have it. If you want to know the hospital, like this hospital is a very professional. I can introduce you. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I will check, but I'm not really interested about going to the hospital or anything like that. And then recently, another friend told me that friends are same age with me. And their friends were just telling me like how they were suffering with ADHD and the daily life is so hard because of it. And they start taking a medicine and things so much better. And then another 동생, the younger friends, also said similar things. And I was talking to Sherry. Do you think I have ADHD? I asked Sherry. And then she actually told me, I think you have ADHD. You just try really hard to put it together. But I know that you might have ADHD for a long time. For example, there was like a perfect demonstration of my symptom. One day, Sherry took picture actually. It was like Sunday, and I was changing a pee pad for my dog.
Yeah.
And then before I finished that, I moved up to vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming the area. And also put the vacuum cleaner on the floor before I finish.
Right.
And I move onto the door and open the delivery box and see what we ordered. And all the scissor and delivery boxes are everywhere. And then I walk up to the kitchen, pour the water, but I forgot to drink the water. And then walk other side of kitchen and start cutting the tomato. And she took picture of them. We were, of course, laughing about it. It was kind of funny. But it's like a Hansel and Gretel moment. You just follow the one piece by one piece, and there's me, yay! But,
Oh, wow.
it's funny, but it really did affect a lot of things in my life when I'm doing work.
Yeah.
I have this feeling like I'm a hard worker. I think I'm a hard worker, and I'm a dreamer. I like to do things, and I like to start things.
Yeah.
And I like to planning things, like not real planning, but feeling like wants to do new things and learning and stuff. But I feel like nothing can really finish. And every time I'm like, oh, I have a lot of things to do today. And I'm sitting on my desk and feeling like I have no idea what to start. Or like my employer will be like, hey, did you transfer this money to so-and-so? Did you do this? And I was like, oh, I'll do it right away. And I will hold my phone. And I immediately forget and doing Instagram and stuff.
You're talking about your employee, right? You're the employer in this situation. Your
Oh,
employee
yeah, sorry.
is telling you what
my
to
employee.
do.
Yes. Yeah, my employee. And then I realized it is not only affect me, it affected people around me.
Yeah.
And also, it did affect me so much. I was just fighting through it every day.
Yeah.
And another problem is I cannot finish anything. And then sometimes I can suddenly really focus on something. And then because of I know like this moment doesn't come every day, I wouldn't stop. Tiling, for example. I was asking Sherry to tiling for until midnight. And Sherry was like, no, we need to go home, honey. And I was like, let's just do it. And I was like, okay. I was fighting through all this, so life was keep going, but not in a best condition. So I was like, maybe if this is what ADHD is, and maybe this is what people are talking about, I should try to take care of this issue. And I still was not sure. So I went to the hospital with my wife, and we talked to the doctor, and the doctor was like, you should take a medicine, and it will really help you. And he like, I'll give you the pill, but I'm also going to give you an extra pill just in case. And if you need it, you can take extra. And he was very kind in explaining all the side effects, and if you want to just rest and doesn't have to do anything, you don't have to take it. But when you're working or when you do things, try to take it. It will help you. And yesterday was the very first day taking the medicine. I was just crying for about like almost like an hour because I couldn't, it's really hard to explaining the way I felt. So I don't know if I can actually explain it well, but I took medicine and then I started doing my work. And I feel like for the first time, I feel like I know what to do. Okay, I'm going to do this shipping work. I'm going to answer the customer. And after this, I'm going to transfer this money to the partner and all this.
Yeah.
And I finish all the work that I need to do in like 1 hour. And that work normally will take like 4 or 5 hours. And because of that, how different it is. And certainly, I was like, oh my God, I don't have anxiety. I don't have anxiety, anxious feeling like I don't think I can finish this in today, but I have to finish this today.
Yeah.
I did not have that feeling, and then I was just so surprised, and I just started crying and crying and crying and doing some more work, and it was like very, very new experience that I never thought that it would affect me that much. That's my new news. And yeah, I don't have a lot of words to explain this perfectly, but I remember one time seeing this video, this baby where I think they were born as deaf, and then they were wearing hearing aids. Is it correct?
Is it a cochlear implant?
Yeah, it's like a new technology that they put it in and they can hear.
Yeah.
And this baby were like hearing for the first time and have this look of happy, sad, surprise, and like a little bit of tears. That was exactly how I felt.
Right.
Like I was happy for me. I was so sad for my time. Like all the suffering the whole time, every day. I was so scared of starting the day and start to work. Yeah, sad and happy and surprised, emotional. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had this information when I was a teenager, when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, all the reason that my parents were mad and my teacher was angry at me, it was because of this.
Right.
Yeah. So if anybody who listens to this podcast have a similar problem with me, I think you guys should at least go to hospital and talk to the doctor and see if you can get help.
Yeah, I think I fall into this group of people.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that you listed, of course, I've been aware of it, but I've sort of been pushing it to a later date.
Yes,
like
me
actually
too.
going in for an evaluation. I think for me it was mostly because of medically transitioning.
Right.
That was going to be a big shift for me, so I was just wanted to start that and get settled in, and I knew that you were also considering going in for your potential ADHD diagnosis and medication. And I remember talking about it maybe like a year ago with you. And in Korea, it's been becoming more and more visible, more and more discussed in the mainstream media, how ADHD can show up in non-cis men.
Right. So different, yeah.
Right. And how a lot of people suffer because there's not been that awareness around how ADHD can show up for the rest of us. So I'm really glad. Like, this is very fresh for you. I know that it hasn't been long at all. And so I appreciate you sharing your experience regardless. And yeah, I'm just really, really, really glad that you've gotten a diagnosis and that you're getting the support and help that you probably needed for, like you said, for much, much longer. Yeah, I think there's definitely that feeling of sadness and all those lost times of like, what if I had this access to this awareness of this earlier. I think it's so good to cry about it. Definitely cry so much. And then Sheri can hold you.
Yeah. I was like crying, and then she was like, oh, and then she said, you okay? And then she didn't realize I was like, keep crying again and again. Like, it's like, oh my God, I just finished this. I finished it every time when I'm finishing work, I'm like crying. And then our delivery man came and I was crying so badly.
Oh my God. And he's such a kind soul too.
I know. And he was like, and then he was like, oh, are you okay?
But
and
he
I was
doesn't
like,
say much.
Yeah, he was like, 갈게요. I'm gonna go. And then he just grabbed our shipping and then left. Yeah, that's my story of ADHD.
I really do admire your transparency. I've never felt like, in all the years that I've known you, I never have ever felt like you sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
And you're always willing to talk about whatever's happening, but you are also at the same time, you have so much gentleness. I think you have a lot of consideration for how you communicate with other people. And I think maybe because you've had so many struggles that you've had to like figure out about yourself and about your life, that's maybe partly why you have so much compassion for other people.
I think so too. Yes, I think so. That's why all those time that I had experienced, if that's what made me who I am now, yeah, same thing, right? I'm okay. And I also think that you always try to see the best part of me. And I really appreciate that. It
Aw.
always makes me feel happy. You say nice things, and I think you have very kind eyes to see people. That's why you feel like that about me. So thank you.
Aw, thank you for saying that. You really are, though. You are a wonderful person. And yeah, I feel grateful for our friendship.
Me too.
And good luck on your journey forward.
I know. No more 5 different things in 5 minutes.
When I spoke with Sherry, she said that some of her students who are queer who know about you,
Yes.
you've been described by people like them as an influencer. Do you see yourself that way? How do you feel about that?
If influencer have to be like very famous, no. But if influencer doesn't have to be famous but still influence other people's life, yes. These days, when you say influencer, it immediately pops in my head with so many followers on Instagram and all this. But I'm nothing like that. But I was just talking about myself. And then in a public, like I was talking about my queer life in a Korean podcast, or I will not hide my sexual identity on like small YouTube show that I was on the guest.
And you've written a book or a few books.
Oh yeah, I wrote book and I also talked about my sexual identity, and because of that, I think it surprised a lot of not a lot of people who see that, they're surprised. And a lot of time they're young queer women or like minority group of people, and they listen to the podcast and they will come or send me messages, say things like thank you so much for sharing your story, and I was really surprised, and I also like the way you talk about your sexual identity. Because whenever I talk about my sexual identity on Korean podcast, I don't make a big deal. I just say, oh, by the way, I'm married and I'm living with a woman partner. That's the way I say it. But
Yeah.
I don't explaining any extra unless they're asking, because I feel like we don't ask that to heterosexual people.
Yes.
I just say it, and then in my head I was like, oh, just to accept it. There is some people like me and there's some people like you, and people are all different. That's what in my head, and I will just talk about myself naturally.
Yeah.
And I think people are very surprised about that, and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that makes me actually really happy, and sometimes I'm proud of myself that I at the point that I no longer having a fear about my sexual identity, and I'm comfortably talking about this, and I never know I can be like that when I was young. So I'm actually really happy. And yeah, in that phrase I can be tiny influencer, yes. And I want to be.
Yeah.
I remember one time this young girl, like she was early 20, she came to my store and then she was asking some question, and she told me, oh, by the way, I know you married and I heard your podcast. I was like, oh yeah, you did? And she was like, I'm so glad to know that you're okay being queer at your 40. She said, I'm so afraid to get old and be lonely or alone and no friends and no community and things like that.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, don't worry about that too much. And the way we describe family is changing every day.
Yeah.
And you can create your own family. And you should believe that if you want to.
Yeah.
And she was actually very happy about it. And that makes me actually really happy. And I want to continue. If I have any chance to talk about my lifestyle, I want to talk about it and share. And if they can make one person that are so concerned about their life because they're queer,
Yeah.
if they can help that person, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've already helped one person, and they're sitting right here.
I remember you contact me and said you want to meet me, and you came over to my office and you were talking about your podcast idea before you started.
Yeah.
And I was really happy for you. I felt like you found the right job for you. And because you're good at listening other people's story, you're very good at sharing your story too, and you're very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Also, you're very open-minded too. Oh, and by the way, I also saw this is different story, but saw your art. The recent art, the drawing that you did it for your gallery event.
Oh, is it the painting?
Yes.
Yeah, I took part in a group exhibition.
Oh, that was amazing.
Thank you.
But anyway, so I'm actually really happy you're the influencer now.
Yes, I hope to influence my friends, my family. Honestly, I really enjoy getting to tell your stories together, like our stories together for whoever might be
Yeah.
listening, because probably, similar to the way that you just feel like your life is natural, your attraction to women is just natural. It's just society, the way that society views it is so restrictive and negative.
Yes.
And I also feel that way about my friends, and a lot of it comes from just spending time with you and the community that you had around you that I became a part of, and seeing that it really is just people. There's nothing like weird about it, and there's nothing,
I know.
there's just
Right.
nothing that is so different.
Yes.
And yet there's this, I think, a lot of the times false narrative about queer people being so different and kind of vilified and sort of threatening image around our lifestyle. And I'm like, our lifestyle is like work,
I know.
cook, have relationships, have friendships, and just sometimes cry. Like, we have like the same struggles and maybe some extra struggles, but basically the same kind of struggles and the same kind of joys
Exactly.
and the same kind of laughter and love and disappointments and hopes. And
Yeah.
that's like all it is to me. And I feel like for whatever reason, like a lot of people still have trouble maybe really understanding that,
Yeah. I think so too.
Right. And I think it's different for people to theoretically understand that queer people are just humans.
Yeah.
And then, hearing actual real life stories from queer people just about their lives, right?
Yes.
So thank you for doing this with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're not at the end, by the way. We're nearing the end, but not
Okay.
at the end.
Okay. That's okay.
You have this like really cool relationship with your wife. What is like the one challenge and one benefit of living with a same-sex partner?
Oh, the benefit. The benefit, I would say, because of we're same gender, there's no gender role. Yeah, in Korean society, men usually go out, not anymore, but men will go out, make money, women takes care of the house and kids, and often driving is men's job, cooking is a woman's job,
Yeah.
doing laundry is a woman's job, fixing the car can be men's job, and all this. We have a zero. We have no rule. We have to just create our own rule. Whoever that have a time will have time for cleaning, will clean. Whoever in the mood for cooking that day will cook. Sometimes my wife will do more or I will do more, but it's okay because we know that we are equal. And that's a big benefit of living with the same gender partner, that we are not expecting anything from each other because of our gender.
Yeah.
And the downside is actually because of the law. It's illegal in Korea. Queer couple marriage is not allowed in Korea.
Right.
And because of that condition, we can't really be officially married couple. And because of that condition, I realized small things that I used to not care when I was younger. For example, I had a surgery several years ago, and I needed to have caregiver, like 보호자. Yeah.
Yes, caregiver.
Caregiver.
Yes.
And of course, my caregiver is my wife, Sheri. And when we went to the hospital, they were like, "Who's your caregiver?" So I pointed at Sheri. This is my caregiver, my spouse. And then they checked Sheri's ID, and they're like, "Oh, your husband." Sheri kind of looks very like tomboy, and a lot of Korean people think she's
Your
man.
husband. But they checked her ID.
Yeah, but because she's a foreigner, the last 6-number ID starting with a different number. You know how ours start with the 2,
or 4,
male start with the 1,
or 3.
hers
Yes.
start with the 6.
Because she's just foreign.
Yeah.
Huh, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, got it.
But at that time, like I will only talk to that lady for like the next couple minutes.
Yeah.
So I didn't really explain. Oh yeah, my spouse. But later, all other nurse and other people knew we were a queer couple, and they were very nice to us. But anyway, those kind of things can be very, very uncomfortable. We have to pay tax separately. I cannot have health care under her, cannot have health care under me.
Right.
So we have to pay our own tax and all this, but we do not get any same benefit
Right.
as other married couple. So
that sucks.
Yeah. That's the downside.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope that changes at some point. I know it's difficult with the conservative Christian right. Their voices are very loud. They're very homophobic.
I know. And this downside is not just downside, right? It's actually human right and equality.
Yeah.
They're expecting the same things from us, but we cannot expect the same protection from the government.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it is a human right.
Yeah.
So, and suffering with this kind of things at my age is sometimes makes me a little depressed because I feel like why I have to worry about these very basic things that all Korean citizens will get.
Yes. Yeah. Should get.
Only because I love my wife so much.
Right. You are a wife nerd. You're a wife nerd. You
Yes.
kind of post about your wife a lot.
Yeah, I'm a biggest fan of my wife.
Yeah. But I mean, it sucks. And I know that it may take time. But we also pretty recently had our first officially public lesbian couple give birth. They had a baby.
I know.
And it made news. And so really like a very public event. And at least the news article I read underneath were all these comments that were just congratulating and welcoming the baby into the world rather than, like, dirty, da 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 da. So we shall see. It's a very interesting time. I feel like, honestly, most people don't really care. They're not super prejudiced in a personal way. It's just there's a very big, strong voice that's kind of holding us back from equal rights, human rights.
Yes.
Yeah, it is depressing. Anyway, I feel like people like you living openly are changing minds and hearts and brains. Let's hope. So, thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, of course.
Can I ask you one more question about your relationship?
Yes.
I really, really like this story that Sheri told about you and Sheri going to meet a couple friend of hers before you started a relationship. Do you think that seeing that gay couple with their life together. Did that actually influence you in considering starting a relationship
Yes,
with Sheri? Oh,
definitely. Actually, it made me feel hopeful.
good.
They were very kind to each other, and they were together for a long time. And they had a beautiful pet, and
Hat?
like the pet, the
Pets.
cat.
Oh, okay, pets. Okay.
And they were not hiding anything.
Mm.
And it was just so surprising to me. Like, I was so surprised. And I remember one guy will drink with us, and he loved like drinking, and he will hang out with us, and his husband will prepare for like ibuprofen for him and give him ibuprofen and water, and they're like constantly say nice things to each other. It was just so beautiful. And I was thinking, wow, is that actually possible? And I want to be like that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wow, if I want to be like that, I would love to have that with Sheri. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Oh.
And they're super gay too. Like one guy where like he would like play piano, and his husband would sing opera song.
Wow. They're
yeah,
traditional
they were
gays.
Yes, and then I remember we were having wine on a table, and they had a beautiful tablecloth,
Yeah, tablecloth.
and it had like a beautiful stitches, like rose and some writing, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. And then the other guy said, oh, my husband made this.
Wow. They're
Yes.
very, whoa, that's very cool. I like that.
Yes.
It's like the perfect blend of creativity, domesticity, and artistry. It's wonderful.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
You being lesbians, of course, you're tiling. You're just like putting the tiles on the floors, fixing the lights. And,
I know. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Tell me
I remember
about
Sheri
it.
spent
Yes.
so long trying to put this dog bed together. And then she got super angry. I was like watching her through the entire process. She got extremely, like increasingly angry because it was just not fitting right. And I was like, hey, Sheri,
Yes.
like the picture from this page that you ordered from and this actual product, they're not the same.
Yes.
Something happened. And she got really angry, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm putting in a complaint.
Oh, I can totally picture that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny like how many times I've seen Sheri build things or fix things.
Oh yeah.
But
oh,
I don't think I've ever seen her like stitch anything.
Oh no.
Yeah, but she's great with laundry. So it's just
Yes.
funny how like domesticity varies from person to person. But cool. I love that. You had a beautiful, beautiful role model couple.
Yes.
Now you're an awesome, beautiful couple. You're a role model to some people. And honestly, I think when it comes to you and me, more than anything, I do really respect you for just having this integrity and staying true to yourself and always being honest. And I know it's not always easy to be honest to yourself in this world.
Yeah.
And it's easy to take shortcuts or just be tempted to do something to please other people because it's just easier that way. But I feel like in many of our conversations, you've always shared with me that, yeah, like this was the choice that you made to be true to yourself over everything else. And you're happy with where you are now. And
Yes.
yeah, I just have so much respect for that.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually meet in person and talk. We should meet soon.
I know, we haven't seen each other in a few months.
Already?
In a couple of months at least.
Yeah,
probably.
yes.
We've
Yes.
respectively been a bit busy. But I will definitely come and see you soon.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah. What are you passionate about these days?
These days, tiling.
Tiling! Yes!
Actually, because of your asking today, I will say I'm passionate about taking care of my health. because of the ADHD experience and everything, and how the medication affect my life in a positive way. And I know maybe I might have some problem because of the side effect or some medicine doesn't work, but I will continue to go to hospital and take care of myself. And then one thing I realized, I don't know why I keep doing that. I give kind of such a low value, low interest, I guess, to going to the hospital for my mental health. If I have let's say, if I broken leg or I have diabetes or like high blood pressure, I will definitely go to hospital, take a medicine, and listen to the doctor.
Yeah.
And somehow, when my health relate with my brain or emotion, I treat it differently.
Yeah.
I feel like not taking care of is something that strong person would do.
Right. Yeah.
And I was really wrong about it. And I don't want to do that anymore because I want to stay healthy physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
So I am actually passionate about my health these days. Yes.
Amazing. And what brings you joy?
My wife, my pet, my friends, my drink.
Wait, do you drink a lot these days? Do you drink regularly?
Actually, almost never.
Yeah.
I used to drink a couple glasses of wine like 2-3 times a week when I'm alone. And that almost never happened these days because I'm too tired.
From all the tiling.
Yeah, I will drink with the friends sometimes. But I think I actually don't drink as much I used to.
Yeah, I have noticed a shift over time.
Yes.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Now that you're not drinking as much and you're passionate about your mental health, is there anything else that you do to feel at peace when life is not always peaceful?
Recently, I watch a lot of movie. And because I'm too busy with my business and tiling and everything, I feel like I don't have enough time to go out meet friends. But when I go to movie theater, it's only like a couple hours and I don't have to talk to anybody and I can be very into different universe than what I have now.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that feeling. And I was like going to movie theater every week.
Oh, wow. You mean recently or?
Yeah, recently.
Oh,
for like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so I watched a lot of new movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will just watch at home. And that's what I do a lot these days, watching movie. I used to watch a lot of shorts on YouTube. And I found that doing that made me keep expecting something really quick and short. And I was like, oh, I don't know if it's okay. It's a good idea to continue. So I switch it to movie. And what I do is actually I go movie theater and I watch movie. And I always make a small note about the movie. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. What was your favorite thing that you watched recently?
I really like the Dog Days, the Korean movie I mentioned. It's very typical drama, cheesy movie, but I think it really suits with my mood that day. So I really liked it. And also when I went to watch that movie, we had a before movie start, all the actors came and then greet to the audience with the director, and the director and the actress gave people gifts. So they just randomly walk to the chair and then give gift. And I was just sitting all the way back. If I have a choice, I always like to watch a movie all the way back. And then the director came all the way back and gave us a gift. So I got like a free food packaging, something like that.
Amazing. What was the food?
It was like a 설날 packaging, oil and some can and
Oh,
yeah.
so like the gift package for the Lunar New Year we give in Korea.
Yes. Yeah, I really like the movie.
That's really
and
nice.
I really like the Dog Man too. All my movies say something about dog.
Oh, that's another movie.
I'm a dog person. Yeah.
Yeah, I know
The
you like dogs.
the Dogman, I liked it not because of the story. I thought the main actor, I don't know his name, but his acting was amazing. It reminded me a little bit of Joker, and yeah, it was so good. And I really enjoyed watching that movie too.
Is this a Korean movie?
No, I think it's.
Dogman.
Do you know the movie Leon? I don't know how to pronounce in English.
Yeah.
The same director.
Okay.
So maybe French, but it's an in English movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in English.
Can I tell you my favorite thing that I've watched recently?
Yeah, please.
I mean, I always watch a lot of things, but recently I watched a movie called Firebird.
Oh.
And it's set in Estonia in the, I want to say the 70s. But this is during the Cold War. And it's about a gay couple in the military. It's based on a true story. And it's the most beautifully shot film that I've seen in at least this year.
Oh, Firebird.
Firebird. Yeah.
Okay.
I really highly recommend it.
Okay.
Because it really reminded me of like the independent queer cinema that I grew up watching as a teenager when I was like, oh, I feel so alone and living in the middle of an English countryside. It's like so beautiful, so well made. It made me so happy.
I should watch it.
Yes,
Okay.
I recommend it.
Actually, thank you because I wanted to watch queer movies, so
Yeah.
that's perfect. Oh, if I can mention there's some movie that it was really good that are not watched at the theater, I recommend the Past Lives. Oh
Oh,
my god, it was very, very good.
it won. So it was definitely nominated for a few awards.
Oh,
I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it will play in Korea soon at the theater. I really, really liked it. It's about Inyeon.
Oh,
I can watch it again. Maybe we should watch it together.
yes.
I don't know how to describe Inyeon.
I know it's a very. I don't know if there's an exact translation in English, but it's a Korean word that means the connections between people. Like
Yes.
it literally means yon is like line connection.
Yes. Yes.
And in means human people, and it can be used to describe almost like fate
Yes.
when you are meant to meet.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, it's Jay from the future here. While I was editing this episode, I looked up the definition of inyon again just to be sure. Turns out I've been slightly mistaken about the word pretty much my entire life. The Chinese character, which we call hanja here in Korea, for the first part of the word in means cause or reason, not human or person. The hanja for yun does mean line, as in a woven thread, especially along the edge of clothing. Together, the word can convey a concept of beginnings and endings, meetings, relationships, cause and effect. It's all in there somehow. A particularly poetic interpretation I saw while doing my research was to weave together from beginnings to endings. In this sense, the word inyon, which is almost exclusively used to describe the interweaving relationships between people over long stretches of time, encompasses a larger sense of reality, somewhat beyond just meetings and relationships on an individual level. Yeah, I've heard so many good things about it. I definitely want to watch it. I watched the acceptance speech of the main actress.
Oh, you did?
And it honestly, like, it
Wow.
made me cry. It's really moving.
Oh. Yes, I cried too.
I think we can definitely go watch it together. Let's do it.
Yes.
And what are you most excited about these days?
Most exciting. It have to be most. So I can't wait to finish the store open. So I'm actually most exciting about opening the new store, and we have a new office space. So I'm actually really excited about not having like new things, but I feel like we're finally organizing something better and finishing something that we've been doing, which is interior. So I'm actually really excited to finish that. And also, I'm so excited that soon is my two dogs, Dambi and Yeorumi. It's their 4 years anniversary.
Oh,
Anniversary? Can I say anniversary?
of their being adopted by you.
Yes, we don't know their birthday, but it's their adopted birthday, and it has been already 4 years.
Is that 1st of March?
Yes.
That's my birthday.
Oh.
We've actually celebrated it together. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? We should celebrate you because my birthday is coming soon. Me.
Yeah.
And 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Dog days.
Dog.
No, dog and human days.
Yes. Anyway, we'll have a family day.
Yes, family days. That's better.
Yeah, chosen
Okay.
family day.
Yes, chosen family.
That'll be really good. Excellent. Anything else?
No. I think I'm just answering with the feeling what's in my head
Okay.
immediately.
Yeah.
And that's like things came up in my head.
That's the best kind of answers.
Yes.
So this is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite drink?
Ooh, I love wine.
Mm.
And I'm not picky about wine, but recently it's not recent, it's been a while, but I really like sparkling wine.
Mm.
And I found that the sparkling wine is good to drink at any time. If you want to have a like tipsy day, you can like start early.
Yeah, if you want to
Also
start
at
day
night,
drinking.
yeah. And champagne also makes me feels like celebrating something. So yeah, I like sparkling wine.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And
Oh, thank you for listening.
yeah, and I hope we can talk again. And if you've enjoyed this episode, if you have any more questions for Hyeyoung, if you just want to send in your stories about your gay, neurodivergent life, you can find us
Yeah.
on Instagram at _coffeeshop_AU.
AU.
You can either DM us there or send us an email. Our address is hi@thecoffeeshopau.com. Thank you for listening and see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.